how to drive him crazy in bed, how to make him be so excited, and how to make sure that your relationship is amazing. This is episode number 6 of the Love Coach podcast. And of course, you recognize this guy, Coach Andres. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing awesome. I love the intro, man. It's we're getting right to it. It's Friday. It's mid-October. Holidays are around the corner, so I love it. How are you?
I'm doing amazing as well. It's always good to see you.
Likewise.
Yeah.
I like the jacket. Very sharp.
Thank you so much.
Very sharp. Very sharp.
Yeah. Tell us what you think of the jacket in the chat as well, in the comments. But I want to start, we will talk about how to drive him crazy, how to really build an intense connection with this guy. But you mentioned something so good it's NFL season. So it's football season.
Football.
How sexy it is when a woman, when your girlfriend, your wife is kind of like interested in the same sports or your team. What does it mean for a guy?
Well, it's funny because I was bringing this up to Alex before we went on about how there's a lot of trends and memes and videos online on TikTok, social media, Instagram, YouTube about women saying, "Oh, Sunday's gone. I'm not going to see my boyfriend and husband for 12 hours," or "He's not listening to me. He's nodding, but he's watching the game. I don't know the rules of this game, so I can't really understand what I'm doing. But as long as we can have fun and have wings and beer, why not?" And so I was making some jokes about how men love, especially in America, their football. I'm a huge football fan. I'm one of those guys. I'm a fantasy football nerd. Sorry, but it's true. I'm in 2 leagues. I'm not proud, but I love it. And I was talking to Alex, who's a big basketball fan, a big soccer fan in Europe, especially. That is it hard for a woman to support that, or is it good for them to get that? And what's your take on that? Because again, I think the idea, it all leads into that sex intimacy topic that we first started off with. And what's your take on that? What is your preference?
So I do think like we focus a lot on bedroom, bed, sex. We have this education coming from porno, which means sex is only the fact that we will have the penetration from, that will be the only thing we talk about. But for me, men doesn't only think with their intimate part. There is a lot of emotional connection. There is a lot of the chemistry, the fact that we feel like a woman is different. So when you ladies can have interest in our passion, in what's important for us, when we feel that we can have long conversation, it drives us very excited to be intimate, excited to be close to you, excited to touch you, excited to, feel something special with you. So I do feel that more importantly than just sex, it's for a great relationship that both of you, of course, men also have to be interested in your passion. They also have to do some efforts. But because it's season, because it's the NFL season, because it's Sunday, I see with all of my friends, like this is on TV. And even myself, from 1 p.m. to midnight.
11:30 minutes. Yeah.
I can be in front of the TV. And I'm not a huge fan of American football because I just discovered it when I came in the US like 8 years ago. But what I want to say is that when you can share something with your girlfriend, with your wife, it is just amazing. And it's just the start of creating this intimacy, this sense of connection, this sense that we are built and meant to be together. What do you think, Coach Andres?
I think that I completely agree with everything because we tapped on to this element of bonding. And so, yes, men are very stereotyped on being just physical or intimate with one specific area of their body to show excitement. And we're not as emotional, vulnerable, or sensitive or, deep as maybe as women are or as they show they are. And so we might have that testosterone masculine kind of wall, that machismo of like, oh, I don't want to talk about all those things. But we do have that feeling. We do have that softness. We do have maybe that insecurity, fear of being accepted or supported. And so, just from childhood, I'm sure you could relate back in France, us guys, when we hang out with guys, we're like competing. And we're trying to win, and we're gonna, wrestle you and get you into the way and stop me, or what? We're gonna compete. Well, how much money we're making on this? Who builds Legos faster? We always have that way of proving, being the answer, being number one, and we also challenge each other by like criticizing or busting each other's balls by being funny and kind of like calling each other out and giving each other like grief about that. So we kind of have that very sheltered slash strong approach on things. And the middle area is that moment of, does someone like my hobbies? Does someone like my sport? Does someone like who I am? Do we have the similar interest in cookies? Do we like the same video games? And we, us men, don't normally express that verbally, openly, even with our friendships, even with our best friends. So when a woman noticed our passions being something completely different from what they have and actually takes an interest in it, now you add that emotional in-depth talking about how we feel spiritually, mentally connected to the woman, where we could be just as intimate without even being so physical with women that they are with us, that nurturing effect. And so again, with this time of the year, which again, I'm a huge football fan, guilty, but the bonding element is what you're saying, that really us men don't know or really express it often. But when we see it, man, it turns us on and drives us crazy.
Yeah, it is exactly what's going on. And to be honest with you, I wanted to talk about this topic because I have coached so many people since 2007. And most of the people that I've coached, they were experiencing a breakup, trying to get back with their ex. And I always ask the question, how was the intimate relationship? How was the sex life towards the end of the relationship? The sex life was non-existent. So I always say, when there is no sex, or if there is not a good sex life, you will end up in a breakup. You will end up in a divorce. So basically, the indicator of a good relationship will be the sex life. It's not always the case. It's not always perfect, but it is something that we want to look at. So if you feel that you don't have a good connection with this guy, if you feel that there is no chemistry, if you feel that something is off, you need to look at the intimate part to see how you can just improve it. Because sometimes when we improve the physical connection, but also the intellectual connection, and we will talk about it today, this is what will make a guy stay with you, change, give you more, and feel the connection as the beginning when everything was amazing. So I want to ask you this question, Coach Andres. Did you see with your client that the sex life is kind of like the indicator of, is it a good relationship, or do they agree? Do they like each other? Things like this.
I've noticed a lot of different scenarios. Again, I'm almost 5 years of coaching, and I've noticed a lot of scenarios where if the relationship is lacking the sex and intimacy, there's also the same gap in communication within their everyday, routines or, just interactions. There's always a gap showing in that sense. Might be overcompensated only on sex because they don't want to talk about things or figure out things or confront things. But usually the time there's a lack of the fire, the spark, the passion in a relationship because there's some underlying resentment, there's some guilt, there's some grudges. And usually the lack of communication in that relationship will show that gap of connection in the bedroom. And so that's why it's very, very important, which I personally, learned and want to get better at communicating that, because normally that's not something I would do prior to becoming a coach and seeing how valuable communicating the sex, the bedroom, the interest, the goals, the desires, the dreams, the fantasy, the feedback. My goodness, take pen and a paper. What do you like? What do you not like? The feedback is very important, because when you now care about your partner's needs, your partner's wants, your partner's satisfaction, it translates to everything else in the relationship. So I just noticed a lot of similarities of, if the bedroom is lacking in the relationship, if the intimacy and the spark is gone, that's just a result of something else already been gone for a while.
I love what you mentioned, Coach Andres, and you were like directly to the advice and the tips. And I hope, ladies, you will just take some notes, because today's live is different. We really want to talk about what are the actions that we would recommend to our client. So let's start with the tip number 1, the communication. We cannot tell you how to basically drive him crazy if you don't want to learn more about him, because we are not all the same. Coach Andres will love something that I don't like, and vice versa. So the communication is very, very important. I study a lot neuroscience to make sure that I wanted to help you be unique in the eyes of a guy when we are in the bedroom. And I found out that all the men have something in common that you mentioned, Coach Andres. We all have, even the guy that is very alpha, very confident, we all have insecurities.
Yep.
And basically, the moment you will tell us that we are the god of sex, this is the moment we were like, okay, let me give her my 200%.
Yeah.
This is what will drive him so crazy. So I ask every client of mine to tell her husband, boyfriend, how good he is in bed. Not just the fact that he will be, very, how can I say, very physical, but even just the fact that he takes care of you, that, the fact that he pays attention to you having an orgasm or something like this. But the idea to show him that he's good at it, I think that is the most powerful compliment to a guy. So I would start with this tip to, drive him crazy.
Now, again, it relates to us men not used to getting compliments. We're not. We're just. I don't know why that is, but we're just not used to giving each other compliments. If anything, even from a friend, from a guy to a guy, we'll give a, close friends, you give respectful compliments, but like the daily intake, of the conversation with another random dude, it's kind of like a backwards compliment in a way, or like, yeah, kind of a diss, something sarcastic, kind of somewhat witty or funny. So when we hear a compliment from the woman we love, or we're dating and girlfriend and wife, it makes us feel, like you said, empowered. We feel just, like a superhero. And one thing I've to add on to that with the communication and the compliments is, it is a new topic. It is a new discussion in that relationship between you two. You don't have to be comfortable. You don't have to be good at it. You don't have to be a professional. You don't have to know exactly and have a script to be, precise. The shyness, the nervousness is actually sexy and turns on the situation. The idea of not being so certain, kind of hesitant, but still committed, somewhat, unknown, but still pursuing, that because they know it's worth it. Anybody would see and love that. So when you bring up this topic, when you have this conversation with your lover, with your boyfriend, with your husband, don't feel like you have to be great at it. Don't feel like you have to be the best at it. Take it easy. You're not some like sex 101 instructor. You know what I'm saying? Have more fun with it. Be silly, be goofy, do something, break the ice, open up some wine or champagne, do what you got to do, put on the music, light candles, set the mood. And the idea, all we care about, and I know this goes both ways, ladies, is the effort. The effort to talk about something important within this relationship. Because if it's missing, it's needed. If it's good, it's only going to get better. So there's always a reason to always try to get better at this communication, at this conversation between two loved ones. I think it's huge, but it's not a very common, if not confident discussion that a lot of people have.
I love what you mentioned, Coach Andres, because you tackle also my tip number 2 that I wanted to talk about.
Look at that.
Yeah, when I first started being a relationship expert, I was eager, and still today, I was really eager, and I'm still, to learn from you guys. And so I did a survey with my community, and I was talking to the men of my community, and I asked them, how can a woman basically turn you off? Not on, but off.
Off.
Basically, I was asking them, what is the number one thing that they should not do? So for you, of course, to know exactly what you can do will be the opposite. And what you mentioned, Coach Andres, there was a lot of gold tips inside. And I want you to go and listen again if you didn't take some notes, because all the actions that you mentioned were very powerful.
Thank you.
Basically, in France, we have an expression that all the men told me in the survey.
Oh.
All the men. It was 1,000 of them. They say, I want a woman that is not a starfish. So the starfish, the idea of a starfish, exactly. So
Take me now.
so that is exactly the opposite of what you were telling, because a starfish, it's basically, I mean, you have the same expression, I guess, in the US, right?
Yep.
So it's you do nothing. You wait for him to have sex with you and just you do nothing. Maybe because you have the fear, because you don't know what to do, and that's okay. But still, remember, you need to enjoy the moment. This is also your moment, your pleasure. And I'm not just talking about the sex, it's everything around. How you can put some music, how you can just give him compliments, how you can look at him, how you can touch him as well. So, all of those things are so important for a man. So, tips number 2, don't be a starfish. That would be my advice to you.
I think
What do you
that
feel, Coach Andres?
I love the starfish. I mean, it's so self-explanatory. It's like, yeah, it's nice looking, but does it move? Is it still alive? Did I do a good job? What's going on? I think it's great because it's again, it's not that you need to be good or great or an expert at that field in a relationship, but it is the effort. The person who communicates and willing to give and receive are the people that you want to be going back to. So there's been like always those inside jokes of like the most stunning, beautiful women don't do anything in bed because they're just stunning and beautiful. They don't have to do anything. Whereas other women who are maybe a little less attractive kind of have more enthusiasm and more excitement and more confidence, which makes the situation even more meaningful. So regardless of like who you are or how you look, the effort is key in not being the starfish. I mean, what's the opposite of a starfish? What would you say?
Someone
Dolphin?
active. Yeah, dolphin is
Dolphins
nice.
are kind of, they're pretty
Yeah.
active. Yeah,
I like it.
they're not bad.
I like it.
Yeah, I was gonna say octopus, but that's not very attractive.
No,
I don't know.
that's bad.
That's
Coach
horrible,
Andres.
horrible.
Imagine
Dolphin.
Coach Andres telling you have to be an octopus.
I will stick with the dolphin. We'll stick with the dolphin.
This is live.
Let's
That's
start
why
with
we
dolphin.
cannot think about it.
The dolphin. Yeah. All right. Good. I'm glad to say that out loud. All right. Good.
This is good.
But again, I think it's very important that you don't feel like you have to be good at this situation, but you want to be good because you care about someone. So there is a point of that progressive level of getting better. And that's all you're going to do. You're only going to get better. You're only going to appreciate each other more. You're only going to bond more. You're only going to go back and laugh back at old times together. Like, you remember that one time? Oh my goodness gracious. You're always going to reflect on creating great memories. You made mundane moments of like typical, normal, boring sex, routine, the same position, the same length, the same attitude, the same approach, the same result, to now memorable moments. And I'm telling you, when you're with your boyfriend, with your husband, with your loved one, that's the more meaningful orgasm, I would say, than just the end, because you're like, wow, we're taking two different people, two different souls to connect on so many different things that I didn't think was possible. Because sex you can do with whoever, but the connection leading up to it, that's unique. That's rare.
I love what you mentioned, Coach Andres, because everyone will think that the man will get an orgasm only at the end, right? Only when they have to ejaculate. But the reality is that this is easy. They can even do it by themselves. They don't even need you. Scoop.
It's true.
But the connection, the souls that will connect to each other, the fact that we can enjoy the moment, the fact that we can feel like only one person. This is how you will be able to drive him crazy. That's why you have to be part of it. You cannot be a starfish. That's why it's so important for you as well to use your voice and compliment this man. So then he tells himself, okay, I'm a good man. And he doesn't have the fear. His mind is not somewhere else. It's here with you. And I want to say, there was a comment, because I was asking them, how can you compliment a man? And Kafa, she said something amazing. She said, and you can use it because this is one powerful. You are the first man that makes me feel in heaven.
I love the wording on that. I love it because you're not saying like, you're not lying, and you're being specific to her. Like, this is my first orgasm ever. Like, let's be real. You know what I mean? It's more like, or hopefully, I don't know where I want to go with that. My point is,
that's true, because if you say something like, oh,
unrealistic,
or just like he doesn't believe it.
Exactly. Like, you're saying something very believable and deep.
Yeah.
That's my point.
Yeah. Because that's could be a turn off. It's very important for you to like say something that is real. Yeah. And so to say it's my first orgasm, it's not the same as you make me feel in heaven.
Yeah.
That's different.
Yes. That's
I like
true.
it.
Soul's connection.
Yeah. I love it. So thank you, Kafa. And she said also octopus move every element of your body. No, no, I'm sorry. I prefer dolphin. I'm sorry for that.
Wow. The
No, 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 no,
octopus
no, no.
moves every, I mean, it's got 8 tentacles. It's going to
Yeah.
do something right. I'll tell you that.
But there's a question from Priscilla. What if he doesn't want to have sex? He's not romantic. You know, there's a lot of men that don't want to have sex also because there is the lack of connection, because they don't feel like they want to be like, they don't feel the fun in between the two of you. So you have to make it easy. And there is a lot of men that can have the fear as well to not be good enough. But I want to hear your voice on this. Oh, I see your face. I see your face.
There are a few options, and I don't want to, like, burst your bubble on this situation, but I want to be honest. Again, I don't want to be insensitive, but I want to be honest. If there's that scenario where someone doesn't want to have sex or doesn't pursue it or care about it within their person, there might be some level of emotional weight on their own, mental, something they need to focus on, something psychological, some kind of trauma, some kind of something made from childhood. There could be something weighing them down. And as men get older, they can't just go anytime they want to. They really do start to, have those hiccups, we'll call them, where they're, just not in the mode, not in the mood. You're just kind of like, because maybe things build up. You have a lot of blockages in that sense, a lot of psychological, mental, if not emotional, spiritual blockages, which could be one thing. The second thing I've seen in coaching calls of clients, whereas they're maybe looking somewhere else, and I don't want to assume that, but that might be something that might be tough love, but could be possible if there's been such a disconnect between two people for so long. And then the third one I've seen in coaching calls is maybe they're not honest with themselves with their sexuality. And I've seen clients in that situation learn through a tough period of time of saying, okay, I found out my husband or boyfriend was in the closet, and now realizing that.
I've seen other situation that is happening a lot, especially in France, but also in the US. It's basically let's say that the sex drive from a man is coming from the testosterone. But basically, there is a moment where we have very low level of testosterone.
True.
And it's very important for your men to be checked. For example, for me, I had a very, very low level of testosterone because when I was young, I was playing so much basketball. Then I became an entrepreneur. Then I traveled the world to give speeches. It was a lot. It was a lot of lack of sleep, lot of energy, lot of being tired. And so at the moment, you use your testosterone levels. So I think it's very important for you also to know about those hormones, because a man that doesn't want to have sex, it's not just because of you or he doesn't want to have sex with you. Sometimes it can be the reason, but sometimes it's just not the reason. But I do feel that when we can create a spark in the relationship, that will be also very important for you in order to make him in love, making him be close to you, making him kind of touch you and create the kino and the sense of connection. So we are here because we want to help you drive him crazy. But in the meantime, we want your relationship to thrive as well and to be good and to be amazing. So you feel great.
Well, to add on to that, if this situation is you guys are in a respectful, loyal, healthy relationship, but they're just basically a little of a disconnect within that part of the relationship, I would suggest that maybe without asking him, maybe take some weight off his shoulders, surprise him, maybe make something easier in his commute to work, or surprise him when he comes home to kind of spark that, wow, I didn't see that coming. Sometimes you get really caught up in the routine, the schedule, the mundane, again, week after week, partnership, husband, wife, father, mother, things that you kind of just drift and lose yourself, again, with a testosterone or a mental thing. So when a woman knows that he's a good man, he loves me, he respects me, he's loyal to me, I would say initiate a spark by maybe doing something, not just sexual or physical, because maybe he's just not there yet, but help him remove something off his plate, metaphorically speaking, in any way that you think that might be helpful. Nothing that would be prominent to change him or change his life or his day, but something small, something simple. You know what I mean? So I feel like you can kind of add that new support. Like, I know you're doing a lot and I know you're going through a lot. So here's a nice little surprise or a little gift or a little gesture to realize and for you to realize and see how much you're appreciative, how much we're grateful for you. So again, I think it's very important if you see that mental block in the sex in the bedroom. To us men, we don't share our feelings.
Yeah.
We're not good at it. We're not good at it, and I've become better at it ever since I become a coach because I see the power in it. It's not a weakness. There's a power of expressing. Again, don't complain about your lunch every day. Get a hold of yourself. I'm saying, when there's something important, I'm going to communicate about it. I'm not going to hold it in. I'm not going to, bite my tongue. I'm not going to hold a grudge. I'm like, no, if this is important to me, I care enough to speak up on. But I was prior to becoming a coach and learning from Alex. Most men don't talk about that. We don't talk about the difficulties of our day or our struggles.
Yeah, I think we don't want to be weak. That's
Nah.
something very important.
Yep.
But so I have to tell you something, ladies. I was very surprised because when Coach Andres walked in the studio today, he was very excited about the topic. He was asking me question, how far can we go? How far can we go? Because he was so excited about the topic. And I said, let's see if you want to go far or not. So,
well, hold on. Let me talk about my side on that situation because
no, it's only my side.
yeah. So my point is again, I'm still learning a lot. Alex has been doing this for almost 20 years, and he's amazing at it. And he's just very educated and qualified. And again, millions of people he's got helped and just basically constantly teaching. I'm almost 5 years in. And so I wasn't sure in the sense of how detailed within a relationship coach, which should cover sex in some form of what to talk about. So I initially kind of keep it broad and vague to the communication of sex, keeping things spicy and surprising, appreciating each other, feedback. That's always important things, adding things that are very broad. And so I was asking him, how specific do you go in your coaching calls, or at least on this live right now, to share? And that's where I'm going to sit back as a viewer and as an audience member of you all. I'm going to join your seat, and I'm going to see, and I'll kind of, fill in from there.
Yeah, I have to give you a hard time,
of course,
to make it fun. But I wanted to talk about the tip number 3.
Okay.
Tip number 3, it's also based on science because some people study what is the favorite position of a man. So, ladies, I want you to guess in the chat. What do you think would be the favorite position in bed? So, what is the one position that makes any guy being completely crazy about it? And some of you don't like it, and I will talk about why in few moments. But I want to see in the description in the chat if you know what is the number one position. Coach Andres, if you have to guess, what is the number one position that men will love to do?
Am I guessing what I think women think men love to do, or what I think men love?
Responded to the.
I don't know, because I think it differs for everyone. I think there are preferences of some people like the starfish. Somebody wants the octopus. I don't know. I think there's different preferences. So I'm very curious what I have a guess what women think what men's number one preference is, which
So
I don't
what
think
do you say?
I would say women probably think doggy style from the back is probably, the most popular one because of just dominant control in some form, but
Okay.
not necessarily, the truth. I think, again, there's a preference. Again, I'm curious. Let's go on. Keep
Let's
on going,
go on.
Alex.
Okay. So first of all, Kafa said doggy. She starts with it. Wolfie said lady on top. There is also the 69 from Queen Elizabeth. Or Kafa say, oh, lady on top. Yes. Priscilla say missionary. Queen say bending over. So there is one. I don't know the name in English. I only know it.
We'll
French.
translate it.
In French, it's called the spoon.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so
it's called the morning, the morning sex.
Let me see it online.
We avoid each other's bad breath. It's basically, my breath is going to the back of your head, and, parts are lined up, and it's basically the spoon. Yeah, it's called forking, actually. It's not spooning because,
It is.
Yeah.
It is this. Yeah, good
Yeah,
job.
yeah.
But Coach Andres knows a lot then.
Yeah, that's good. All right. Again, yeah, it's usually the morning,
Okay. So, ladies, you're doing a good job here. I want to make sure that you hit the like button and subscribe. It's for fun. It's all educational content. But it's also very interesting to know what men did respond. So let's start with position number 3. It was lady on top. This is position number 3 that they love. Number 2, it is the famous spoon. The spoon was number 2, and number 1, it was doggy. it was doggy style.
Doggy. Woof,
Yeah,
woof.
that
Woof, woof.
was like the number one response from men. What do you think of it? Oh, some women doesn't like it because they feel it's an act of submission or being
Yeah, of course.
submissive.
Yeah, they don't see your face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can use a mirror.
Yeah.
That's the advice that I give
That
usually.
is very nice. I think that's a
So
very
you can
hot
use the
tool.
mirror to have the eyes connection
There you
with
go.
the guy. And you can use your body and you can be the leader as well. You don't have to feel like you're basically giving him everything and not feeling happy with yourself. But what's your take on the top 3 position for men?
I love that because it actually it reminds me of some advice I've gotten from, you know, older men in my family. Let's say, you know, especially my older brother or maybe my father back in the day, just like describing how you need to understand with the woman that you love, a woman that you cherish. There's, you know, you need to be able to cover all 3 elements of lovemaking. And I think each position kind of describes each element. Whereas sometimes there's just the sex that happens, and that could the position of the spoon, a convenience, waking up, or in the moment, something simple, something quick, something intimate, something unique. Then there's the aggressive part of that passion that, you know, I don't want to say a vulgar word, but it's more of like, gotta have you now, I gotta dominate, vice versa, you know, kind of thing, which relates to the position number 1. And then the other third element is making love. And I think that's where when the woman's on top, the man is just probably admiring the view of being like, I can't believe I'm the luckiest man in the world. Like this beautiful woman is she's doing all the work. You're the starfish. And so again, the idea is having awareness that all 3 elements in a relationship, again, making love and sex, are very healthy to understand. Everyone wants to have all 3 of those moments, maybe one more than the other, but it's great to have that variety.
You know what, Coach Andres? It's our 6th episode, right? It's episode number 6. And we are asking you ladies to hit the like button, to share. This is very important for our support. But man, we receive so many comments about this position. There is Casey, there is, you know, Kafa, Priscilla, there is also Sylvia. Hey, ladies, you are on fire when it comes to this question.
What is cowgirl?
Cowgirl.
From
I
Casey.
think it's on top, no?
That's true. Righty.
I have to get
I would assume it's the.
I will. Yeah, I think that's. But maybe it's the reverse situation where the woman is not facing you; she's facing the other side.
The bowl.
So that is what I think.
Maybe. Interesting. Casey.
Yeah, I have to learn the position in English because I know them in French, but that doesn't help when I'm doing live with Coach. You don't speak French, Coach Andres?
I don't. I don't.
Yeah.
So what is it? What does spoon say? Well, how do you say spoon in French?
La cuillère.
No, that's romantic.
La cuillère.
Holy, la cuillère. One more time.
La cuillère.
La cuillère. La cuillère. Okay.
Okay, so let's move to tip number 4. I want to hear it from you because I have the last one. I want to finish with one very, very important. You will love it. So stay with us and remember to share it to your friends. This is the Love Coach podcast. We are also here to answer your question.
Yeah, please let me know if you have any questions.
There's a question because Priscilla says, what is the difference between making love and sex? That's a question that I could ask, you know.
Making love and sex. I would say making love usually comes from a very deep point of just feeling connected, heard, safe, seen with someone, where it's a special occasion. You guys have resolved a difference. You guys have really gotten closer. You guys have gone through something challenging, and you just kind of really value this partnership more than just the romantic side of it. And that's something I always try to prioritize in coaching is that, you know, your husband, your boyfriend, or your lover, they're not just your boyfriend or husband, it's your partner, it's your support system, it's your teammate. And so when you cover more of those angles in the relationship, the romantic side's only going to get better and benefit off that. Obviously there's an attraction, obviously there's chemistry, obviously you guys, you know, like being together that way. But when you kind of communicate and prioritize that support system, that partnership, respect that teammate agreement with, you know, how we treat each other and the roles we play, you really make love to someone, to like, you really let go. You just like, you're expressing a celebration and a way of just pure ecstasy of like, wow, this is someone special that I, you know, soulmate. It's in that sense, something unique. Whereas sex, I would say, could just be the spur of the moment, a simple attraction, maybe a couple of glasses of wine and you're just in the mood, or something on TV inspires you, or just something that's kind of just in the moment because it happens sporadically that turns you on. Whereas making love is probably usually built up from a period of time, a built up moment, a built up excitement to be showing that gratitude or that expression to that someone.
I love what you mentioned, Coach Andres.
Oh,
It's
thank
very
you.
important to,
Look at that.
it's creating a deep connection. There is the sex and there is the making love situation where you can create a connection when you feel that you are very connected. And having sex with your partner, sometimes it's still okay. Sometimes we need this animal instinct, right? We don't have time to making love. So it doesn't have to be bad. You should not have a bad vision of just having sex. But of course, what we want is to vary and sometimes to make love and to really build up the connection. So, what would be your tip number 4, Coach Andres? If we want to drive him crazy in bed, what would be your suggestion? What would be your recommendation here?
Well, it's interesting. I'm gonna be honest. I know this is your list, so I don't know if this is actually number 4 in order of your list, but I will point out feedback. I mentioned that earlier a little while ago.
Yeah,
I think
I
feedback
liked it.
feedback's important. Feedback again, and not just compliments like, you know, you were amazing, that was special. I would say feedback on letting them know what turns you on more, or what is the right spot or place or build up, or something that kind of builds you up to really getting hot. Like, give that feedback, constructive criticism, which again, it's not a comfortable place to talk about. You don't have to be confident about it. You shouldn't be an expert on this. Maybe you are, but who knows if you are? Okay, fine. But I'm sure you're not alone. But the idea is, try to make that effort, even if you're shy, nervous, or uncomfortable. That curiosity, that interest in your partner in the love department is crucial. So that feedback to let someone know what really turns you on, or what something could be a little different, but you really love where it goes. Again, not to diminish, not to reject, not to deflect anything that they're doing, but direct it to more specifically of your choice, of your benefits, of your likes, because we all have different turn-ons and turn-offs in the physical sense, in the body wise. So, and I always remember that funny episode. I don't know. Are you a big fan of the show Friends?
I was a good. I cannot say big fan. I was a fan, but not a big fan.
All right, so I'm a big fan, and so my whole family and friends. And there was a very famous, funny episode where Joey Tribbiani and Chandler, these two bachelors back in the time, and they were talking about, you know, sex with a woman, and how, you know, especially Joey, the player, the soap opera star, how he's really good at it. And he talks about how it's like, yeah, it's very simple. He's got to go one spot, boom, and just get it going and go as hard as he can, and got it. And Monica and Rachel look at each other with so much disgust, and they were like, you don't know women at all. Yeah, you get women, but you don't know women. And so then I think Chandler, with his smart ass remark, was like, well, why don't you show us and tell us? And then Monica was like, okay. So she grabs a pen and she grabs a paper and she draws a woman's body. And then she talks about, yeah, the obvious one, we get it. We get it right there. But you can't forget about 2, 3, 4, 5. And then Chandler and Joey are like, 5? There's 5 spots? And then Monica goes like 6, 7, 7, 7. And she starts turning herself on, and Chandler and Joey are laughing at each other, like, there's 7 spots on a woman's body that drives you crazy? Whereas us men, it's usually just 1, you know, ironically. But, you know, the idea is there's so many other elements in a woman's body that does turn them on, and that should be expressed. So when I see Monica saying the same number 7 over and over and over, she's kind of enjoying her moment. Chandler and Joey's reaction, like, I never knew all that. And again, because most people don't study sex. Most people don't talk about this unless you watch Friends.
That's that's a good point, because basically when we talk about sex, and especially with you ladies, it's bad. People will tell you sex is bad because it will make you like a bad girl, someone that's not respectful, someone that we cannot respect, someone that we will only use. So you have this image, and I'm pretty sure I heard so many times in coaching, my mom told me that sex is bad. So now I'm in a relationship and I cannot express myself. And maybe I left, and maybe, sorry, I lost my husband, I lost my boyfriend because of that situation. And so I love your tip number 4, and you can do it in order that you want. The fact is, feedback is so important, and communication is so important. And one day I gave an advice to one of my clients. It was a long time ago, a French lady. She wanted to spice up her sex life with her husband. She knew something was off. And I asked her, do you communicate with him? She said, yes, but sometimes we argue. It's kind of like tough to make him know what I want. Or even when I ask him what he wants, he would tell me things in a way that I don't want to give him pleasure after that because he's kind of disrespecting me.
Is that because, again, old-fashioned men and, again, that masculinity stupid part of us is like we feel like we should already be good, we should already please you, we should already know how to do. We don't need feedback. I know you're good.
Exactly.
I know you. And your women are like, no.
It's exactly that, and sometimes communication could be tricky. So I told her, you know what? Let's give him a feedback, but without words. And she was like, exactly like you. This is weird. What are you meaning, Alex? And I told her, grab his hands and show him where you want to be touched.
Yowza.
Give him be the leader. And since that moment, I will always give you this advice in my videos, in my lives, in my program as well, because I feel like men needs to hear, but also to really feel. And so don't be scared to use his hands and show him, what do you want? Where do you want to be touched? How would you like to be touched as well? And I feel like a woman that does that is not disrespectful. Men love this because they feel that you're sharing something with them without ego. It's not like this ego fight. I know I should be good at it. It's mostly like, okay, thank you. Now let me give you even more pleasure. Because remember, men, that's our main mission. We want to be the best at giving you pleasure. What do you think of this, Coach Andres?
I love that. And I see the psychological manipulation in it in a good way, Whereas, let's just be real. If my wife, girlfriend grabs my hand and puts it on her breast or her inner thigh and then talks about feedback, I'm not going to care. I'm already there. Let's go, bedroom, let's go. So you kind of squash immediately with that contact. You squash that possible criticism / emasculation or embarrassment of you don't do what I like, or you don't know how to get me going. You squash that and you go right to the point of just like the hand is already on a place where he's going to get turned on immediately. So he's now paying all attention. What's going on here? What are you doing? What? And then you just say nothing. And that way he feels like he's actually in control, letting you be in control compared to actually thinking he's being right.
So
right.
good.
He thinks
so
he's like,
good.
I'm doing good, right? And she's like, yeah, shut up. But it's like, he feels like he's in control because it's his hand, but you're guiding it. And you're actually in control and you're not saying a word. And I'm sure whatever you're doing to guide his hand, he's not going to care. He's not going to get mad. He's not going to get defensive or egotistical. No, I'm going on this side. He doesn't care. His hand is on your body. He's good. He is basically, he's just walls are down, guards are down. Okay, cool. And so that's such a great point of just cutting through the BS, cutting through the disconnect or the back and forth. That's like, we're not getting it. And so when you show it, I love that. I see it.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice.
Thank you, Coach Andres, for validating this advice. And the feedbacks are so important, ladies. So you can do it vocally. You can communicate with him. You can also show him with your hands, meaning you take actions and you show him that you're doing it in a way for both of you to enjoy the moment. And let me tell you that you will drive him so crazy. So those simple tips, when we are in coaching with you, when we hear your story, when we hear the situation, we can really go deep and helping you with a lot of simple action that will make your life easier. So you have the link in the description. Coach Andres, how do you help women being happy in their love life? Let's talk a little bit about your coaching before tip number 5 that will blow your mind. Let me tell you that you will love my tip number 5.
All right, so this is not
now it's time for you to
okay.
I want you to, because I know how like you get great results.
Thank you.
I don't know what you do, but there is so many women that came to me, says Coach Andres is the best. I worked with him and this is what I have done with him. And he's so amazing. And I'm like, wow, for them to come to me to tell me that because they know we work together, it shows to me that you really help them. So
Thank you.
ladies, you need to click in the description and have access to coaching with Andres. You can be coached by me as well, but I want to hear a little
Thank
bit
you.
about your philosophy.
I appreciate that. And so one thing I try to implement in my coaching is also the life coaching part of it, of checking in on yourself, prioritizing yourself, bettering yourself, focusing on things that make you feel confident, sexy, attractive, successful, strong, because men love that. That actually we don't feel challenged or competitive to like, oh, what's going on? You're going to the gym now. It's like, we love that drive, that ambition in a woman, in a strong, independent woman, to push herself, that she believes in herself. So I always go more in the psychological part of it, where focus on more on what you could do for yourself. Take care of yourself, represent yourself, look good for yourself. Like really take pride on how you look, not just for him, but for yourself. When you have that inner confidence, which is again, not just your looks, but it's because you are, doing the things that are taking care of your mental health. You're checking in with yourself. You do prioritize time with the girls and you always love it. You take time for your faith, time for your family. You take time for your fitness. You're now becoming something that we feel so lucky to be a part of. When you are a woman who's got like all elements going on to like just committed and prioritized, we are like, wow, like she's going places with or without me. And if I ever get the opportunity to marry her, make love to her, commit to her, I'm the luckiest man in the world, which enhances our ego, our competitiveness, our masculinity, our way of trying to be that answer, that man, that prince, that king, that charmer, that Casanova, that Don Juan, because that woman really does something unique. It's all beauty inside out, all confidence inside out. And so I always try to focus on them, and they love that because it's guaranteed results for them. And then you start to see who's the right man for you after that. And so when they really see how I work with them, they're saying, oh, I'm not worried about him. What do you mean? Don't you? No. Let's talk about you.
Mhm.
And they get that attention and they get that focus and they get that challenge within themselves where they're saying, whatever's going to happen, these results are always going to increase. These percentages are always going to increase within you. And watch the guy go crazy for you. Watch the right man feel lucky to be with you. And then everything else kind of goes to the first few points that we mentioned earlier.
So remember, ladies, the links are in the description right below, so you will be able to, get some information, get on a call. Let us be your coach, because we do videos. We want this podcast to be funny, but we take our job very seriously. Like, we do a lot of videos. It's been 5 years for Coach Andres, almost 18 years for me, and we are still doing lives and masterclass and videos. And how many lives a week do you do on TikTok?
3 or maybe 4, depending on the week. And just to add that element again, so one thing that actually me and Alex, I think was our first conversation, and why again we take so much pride in our coaching. Yes, we enjoy it because we love what we do. Like, without getting too personal in our business, but we both turned to coaching because a personal struggle, sacrifice, suffering, pain in some form within health, family, or something. We both turned to coaching at our darkest, toughest time. And it was about just helping people get through the things that we've gotten through. And so it was not only therapeutic for us, but it was a mission, a calling to see like, oh, we're actually really naturally kind of good at caring for this and wanting to get better and seeing the results and realizing the reward is seeing someone improve. And so we've had our discussions on why we both got into this. Him obviously a while back before me, and mine more recently. And so there's a strong level of honor and basically pride that what we do to like really focus on taking care of what's important on you.
I love what you mentioned, Coach Andres, because that's true. We really are here for you, ladies. So remember that if you need help, just a couple of sessions, even just one session, can change your love life and, of course, your personal life as well. So I was asking a question in the chat, ladies. Basically, what will be your best advice to drive him crazy in bed? And I see Casey saying, plan the event and blindfold him and ask him what you want me to do to you right now. This is amazing because when you will blindfold someone, you will basically spark the other senses. So you will drive his interest. And so he will feel much more because he's not seeing. I want you to tell you this will be my tip number 5 or tip number 5 because we were able to exchange some contents and tips. You know, we talk a lot about the 5 love languages from Gary Chapman. So we can love someone with the words of affirmation, the art of touch, you know, the moment that you will have together, the quality moment, etc.
What's your number one?
I think it's act of service.
Interesting.
I feel like, you know, act of service for me is my number one. When you do something for me that is not expected, boom, I'm in love as a friend, as a, you know, husband, as anything, because I feel like this is my number one. What about you?
Quality time.
Quality time?
Yeah.
Awesome. So we know that the 5 love languages, basically they really change millions of people's life. Like this is a really good book, really good philosophy. And I was talking to one of my good friends in France. Her name is Jessica Pirbe. She's a sex coach. And she told me, Alex, do you know that there is the sexual languages? And I was like, tell me more about that. I love to learn. And so she's a sex coach. She has been trained by someone in the US. Unfortunately, I don't know the name, but I will ask her to give credit to the person. But we talk about the sexual languages in a way that there is some people, they love the sex that is hard, you know, that is like very intense. And some other, they love the caring, to take their time. And so that's true. I was talking to some of my friends. They say, yeah, when I want to have sex, it would take hours. And some other, they would tell me, no, 5 minutes, but very intense, like a sprint.
Yeah.
And so I realized that we all have different sexual languages. I gave you 2 of those just because you can just focus on it. You know, do you like to be submissive? Do you like to be in control? Do you like to do like sex that will be fast, or you like to take your time to really connect? I think that if you ask yourself, what is my sexual language, and what is his sexual language, this will just raise your knowledge and you will be able to really connect with this guy. Because if you are submissive and he is as well, doesn't like to take the leadership, you would find a way that it's not the best match.
I love everything because again, you're teaching me all this stuff right now. I want to get more educated in that and understand that it seems like it's such an untapped territory in a relationship, untapped area of a relationship, because we relate to things we see on TV or maybe references of a porno or magazines or a friend's story. Like you don't talk about it openly. You don't go to class for it. You don't read on it. You kind of casually run into things that might feel like that gives you your repertoire, we'll call it, in the bedroom. In a sense, you kind of just pick and choose things on your way compared to saying, well, how about we read some actual knowledge on this, some education, some actual intellectual advice, information that's going to be not only effective, but actually is legit. And so the sex language is so true. I think it's very, very important to be educated that, because I mean, again, if you're going to focus and prioritize love languages, why would you not want to learn the other?
It's exactly the reason why you need to continue to educate yourself. You need to continue to feel good. You need to continue to learn, because we think with this porno education that the sex is very simple. Like it's 2 people having sex, meaning the penetration, and being as hard as they can. It's not for everyone. I'm not saying there is not people that don't like it. Yes, there is some people, they think it's the way they do sex and they like it, and it's great for them. But there is so much more about a topic that is so secret and so private. So we want you to have this open mindset about sexual languages, and you will find a way to connect so deep to their need and to your need. I'm not asking you to be what he wants. I'm asking you also to become what you want by knowing all of those tips. And the best way to do it, I think, is to talk to a coach. I think is to ask yourself some question that you never asked yourself before. And I want to thank you, Wolfie, as well in the comments, because your comments is everything to me. It means the world. So thank you again, guys. Really appreciate your support. So Coach Andres, This was a spicy.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
man.
but
That's yeah, it's getting hot in here. And it kind of makes me think about everything you just talked about, the love languages and everything that we're lacking or not even getting the opportunity to educate ourselves on, which I haven't seen the movie, but obviously it's a huge, huge hit. And is that probably why there's a huge fascination with like movies like 50 Shades of Grey?
yes,
Women love that 50 Shades of Grey movie or that, the franchise, because I've seen clips on TikTok or I've seen people talk about it where it gets pretty graphic, but it's about one man making love to a woman in a variety of ways, maybe 50 ways. Who knows? That's why it's called it. I don't know. But it's basically real. It's like an expert in love making doing it with only one person. And that's why people or especially women love it, because there is a loyalty to it, how much he's in love with her, but he also has a very kinky / well-educated sex language. So it'd be one thing if this guy was a sleaze bag and, kind of like, then women wouldn't care, like, get out of here. But since he is so educated and open-minded to do so many things with her, I could see why women probably see like, wow, how come men not be better at sex? What are they missing? How come they're not learning? Why are they always doing the same thing? And I'm sure Mr. Shades of Grey over there is just, again, highly educated in it.
and I think it's also the idea that he's doing something that sometimes we want, but we won't express to people. And
Oh, you seen it?
yeah, I've seen it. I've seen.
I gotta
full
watch
movie.
it.
Yeah, honestly, it was a good movie because I didn't see it as a movie. I don't care. I was seeing it as a love coach. I was like, okay, why people love this movie so much? What are my client, my coachee, finding in this movie to feel so attracted to Mr. Grey? And I found out that it's kind of this idea that, a sex when a man is the leader. And usually it's not something we can openly talk in the society
No.
without being judged.
Maybe in France.
So even in France,
No?
honestly, even in France. So the idea is that this movie was so disruptive. Disruptive, in my opinion, I don't know if this word exists in English.
Yeah, descriptive.
Yeah, disruptive.
Yeah.
And also it's the idea that it brings something new and different. That's why people loved it. It's not for everyone, but when you watch the movie, you tell yourself, okay, maybe there is something that I like because it's private, it's secret, it's not something that we can share to everyone. But the idea is you still want to find someone that you feel secure, confident. You need to be like in a situation where you feel amazing.
Yeah.
And when you have this deep connection, man, this guy will never leave you because you will be in your feminine power. You will be so different that this guy will tell his friends, I hit the jackpot. She's the jackpot. She's the $1 million lottery pick, basically. And that's what we want to be. That's the reason why of this channel and the Love Coach podcast, just for you ladies, so you can feel great and amazing. So there is Priscilla saying, thank you, Priscilla. Casey as well. Casey wants part number 2. So I think we will do it very soon. But we'll see next week. It will be based on your questions. So remember to ask us any question in the comments. We want to be on your side. Remember to hit the like button and share it to your friends. We want to grow this episode, this podcast show. We want to be on your side. We want to show you that it's just a life-changing advice that we are trying to give you. So thank you, Coach Andres.
Always a pleasure. Again, I knew this topic was going to be interesting because I was like, I want to learn more than just kind of contribute. And I learned a lot. And so again, us as coaches, what we're trying to help you out with is if you are in a relationship, become more familiar with this language, become more familiar in this very important element of a relationship, because it's key, it's critical. And if you're not in a relationship, we help you prioritize and challenge you to better yourself, elevate yourself, increase your own personal value of who you are, to attract a respectful man, to actually get to know and build something slowly, how to filter out the rest, how to actually see value in someone else. You better see value in yourself. And one thing I said on my the last podcast, which people kept on saying on my TikTok lives the following week, they love the idea if and it kind of just came to me. I didn't think about it, but I wrote it down, and now I use it all the time. If he doesn't care and want to respect your opinion of your gut, he doesn't deserve your heart. So trust your gut. Speak up. Speak up. Don't worry about losing his feeling, his attraction, his pursuit, his interest. If you're going to lose his interest because you are speaking up, you're trusting your gut, then he was not the right guy for you. So the idea is we help you filter all those things out to actually understand quality over quantity.
Yeah, we love it. So remember, ladies, to share the podcast. Click in the description to learn more about us. There is Coaching with Andres, the YouTube channel, the TikTok. He's doing amazing live for hours. I don't know how he does it.
Celsius.
Yeah. So basically, the energy drink, right?
Yeah, live
We
fit,
stay-
love smart.
I love it. I love your podcast, your slogan, your motto, buddy. But yeah, thank you again. You are amazing community. We will see you next week, 2 p.m. Easter time, because we want to be on your side and we want to also answer all of your questions. Thank you, Coach Andres.
Thank you.
I see you soon, guys. Take care. Bye bye.
Thank you guys for joining.